Hi, my name's Jack Burke, and this is my Supply Chains Management Operations Continuous Assessment project. The sector I have chosen to delve into to research their supply chain practices is the sporting goods sector. I chose this sector out of my own interest and curiosity with the overall market, due to my own sporting involvements and my own prior experiences with firms located within the sector over the years. In relation, the sector's main operators are firms I would argue everyone has heard of, such as Nike, Adidas, and Puma. These firms are so well internationally recognized that 89.62% of all US consumers have heard of Adidas. Sector trends. This sector has been affected by the pandemic, but a noticeable trend within the sector is their resilience throughout the pandemic, its entirety. In comparison to other apparel markets, the market suffered its worst period during March of last year, but ever since has received a steady rise in the market capitalization across the board. Another trend occurring in this sector is a substantial uptake in individual sports and home exercise ever since the pandemic's introduction. There has been forecasts set for the future that this will increase and will continue so much that there will be an 84% increase in outdoor individual sports. A change that has been gradual with the sector would be the merge of athletic apparel and leisure apparel. This athleisure clothing trend has been normalised more due to the volume of the population having to work at home, as well as its advancements prior to COVID-19. This innovation in clothing line has proved to be very competitive within the market. Another trend occurring within this market is the increases opportunity to modify the supply chain into dealing with sales to their customers directly. From the introduction of COVID to firms, the increase in online sales has shown companies how important their online platforms can play, and how switching to dealing with customers directly may prove significantly more beneficial to the firm overall. A large factor that firms in this sector must also be mindful of is the heightened importance on sustainability nowadays. Firms must place a greater emphasis on the sourcing of their resources and having a strong, reliable supply chain to operate with. The sector size. The sporting goods market sector that I have chosen to delve into is estimated to be valued at approximately $71.85 billion in 2019. In the United States alone, it's valued at more than $40 billion annually. There has been a forecasted rise in growth in the market of 3.5% from 2018 to 2025. It is also estimated to be possibly rise to $89.22 billion by 2025. The employment figures in the US alone for the sporting goods stores are over 292,654 as of March 2021. These US figures have also had an increase of 0.4% entirely in 2021. The Nike Inc. The firm to which I have chosen for my analysis is of their firm and their supply chain information regarding was Nike. I chose this firm initially out of my own interest due to my involvement with sport and exercise, as well as having bought several of their products over the years, and wanted to gain a better understanding as to where they stand in their specific market and the supply chain practices they carry out in the day-to-day. It is an American multinational company and is the world's largest manufacturer and supplier of sporting goods such as shoes, apparel, and other sports equipment. Nike was originally founded back in 1964 by a track and field coach at the University of Oregon named Bill Bowerman. He originally named the firm Blue Ribbon Sports. Their introduction saw them open a retail outlet in 1966 and went on to release their first Nike shoe in 1972. It was 6 years later the firm was renamed Nike, and it was made a public company 2 years later. By the 21st century, Nike had seen such an increase throughout the years, so much so that they had now outlets and distributors in over 170 countries and were an internationally recognized company. Their products and services. As previously mentioned, Nike is the largest manufacturer and supplier of sporting goods. They design, develop, and sell several varieties of products, from basketball apparel and equipment to football, as well as leisurely clothing also. Nike, who generate 60% of their sales from outside of America, operate out of more than 1,090 retail outlets that they own, as well as their e-commerce site. Their branded Nike products, which equate to 95% of their total revenue, are centered around 6 categories: running, Nike basketball, football, the Jordan brand, training and sportswear. The production route we have seen Nike incorporate over the years is the vertically integrated model for the manufacturer in relation to their products, such as their apparel made of organic cotton, environmentally friendly rubber, and their recycled polyester. Nike would then source different types of resources from different places that are located closely to their already established factories. After the stage would involve raw materials recovered or sent off. After this stage would involve the raw materials recovered or sent off to manufacturing. This process would then include things such as segments of the product, such as the shoe being cut up for placement into a shoe later on in its life. It would also have to endure more rigorous cutting and more intense heating to mold it. Nike's output monitoring could handle predominantly finished goods, their recyclables and their non-recyclables, in order to use it in their next production cycle. Their locations. Nike's main locations for their sales revenue would be the United States, the European Union, as well as their China market. Their headquarters is located in Beaverton in Portland. As previously mentioned, they occupy retail stores in over 170 countries worldwide, one of which being a substantial amount in the UK. In the UK, they occupy 41 stores across 33 cities. They have also used their locations to implement new Nike refurbishment program. This is where they set up stores in various locations to take in gently worn and used footwear and clothing and refurbish them and then sell on for a discounted price. Nike's main locations for their sales revenue would be the United States. As of approximately May of last year, Nike employ over 75,400 employees worldwide. This figure has changed over the years, and is due to the pandemic, the number employed dropped by over 1,000. It is estimated that the employees themselves would receive $25.44 per hour as a cashier and approximately $11.11 per hour as a backroom associate. It is estimated that Nike employees would on average receive between $20,000 and $340,000 a year salary with the company. They are also met with certain benefits with their employment, such as a sizable discount on clothes and footwear, and it is also said that they receive a pair of free shoes and 2 free outfits upon hiring, and then receive a free pair of shoes and an outfit every 6 months with the company. This is to ensure that there is a good employer and employee relationship within the firm. Nike are Fair Labour Association Workplace Code of Conduct certified, which is also obtained as an effort to ensure that their employees are treated fairly and are comfortable with their work environment and pay. Nike's objective. Nike's slogan is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Their plan to obtain this goal is by constantly creating and innovating new and improved products to aid with their customers' objectives, also by creating diverse teams and making such changes as ensuring the sustainability of their products, as well as trying to make a positive impact on their communities that they occupy and their surrounding area. Nike's core values are community, sustainability, diversity, and social responsibility. This reflects them as a company to ensure all the boxes are ticked and all important phases that go into a successful business and a well-run business are accounted for. Nike's more corporate objectives would include such things as ensuring that Nike is the number one athletic brand in all of the US, to manage and to monitor their international market as it grows to ensure the most success is possible for the future of the company, to gather steady momentum in the fitness market, which since the pandemic has seen a slow but gradual increase. A large objective, I would imagine, for Nike would be to improve upon their margins by proper inventory management and improved products. Nike's share. Nike, being the largest retailer and manufacturer of sporting goods, is obviously going to play a massive role in how the entirety of the sporting goods sector performs. With certain shares being constantly bought, such as Amazon and Tesla, etc., Nike's market share is always in demand, also due to how well it performs. Nike's current market share is approximately 27.4%. This is the largest figure owned from their market. This mass volume that Nike controls, therefore, gives them great power and influence in the sporting goods sector. Adidas. Adidas being Nike's main competitor in their sporting goods sector. Adidas is a German multinational company that was set up and their headquarters are located in Germany. They are the largest manufacturer and supplier in Europe and second in the world behind their largest competition, Nike. They are the largest in Europe, but their main retail sales revenues come from Asia. Europe makes up 27% of their overall retail sales, but Asia accounts for 33%. They are massive influences also in the sporting goods sector. They too produce various types of different apparel ranging from lifestyle and leisurely clothes to sport-specific gear and equipment such as football boots, etc. Adidas's production would be batch production due to sheer size of the business and the overwhelming quantity of products needed to be produced and shipped on a short time. In 2020, it was reported that Adidas had produced over 379 million pairs of footwear alone. That, taken into account, is a ridiculous amount of demand for any product to be produced by anything more detailed and slower than batch production. Their products would be produced and held in warehouses until further notice. 27% of all Adidas's production occurs in China, where they occupy out of 337 factories. They also produce out of Indonesia, Vietnam and India. Several other factories can be found in countries ranging from Japan to the Philippines also. Adidas also employs approximately 62,285. Similarly to Nike, Adidas has also seen a sharp drop in their employee number since the introduction of COVID-19. Since the previous year, their number has fallen by over 3,000. Adidas encourage their employees to engage in volunteering, and they place a good amount of importance on their level on their level of community engagement. Comparisons can be drawn between Nike and Adidas, as some of Nike's core values were community and social responsibility, and Adidas also shares these values and try to influence both their internal community and their external community in a positive manner. Adidas, being a large company as they are, only narrowly behind Nike in their respected sector, will obtain a lot of power and influence over their market. Being the largest retailer and manufacturer in Europe of sporting goods, Adidas plays a substantial role in how the sector performs in its entirety. In 2017, it was calculated that Adidas was in control of 11.3% of their market. This, compared to Nike's 27.4% in 2020, is a large difference, but Adidas still controls a significant amount of the overall market. The best practices between Nike and Adidas. In relation to Adidas and Nike's application of their supply chain practices into the production side, it can be seen as follows. Nike would incorporate the use of subcontracting bodies to aid in firms' flexibility. It helps to obtain a more demand-driven production system and increase their degree of flexibility in fluid markets. Whereas Adidas would incorporate the more commonly used batch and queue production approach. They would process their products and then hold them in warehouses until further instructed. Adidas underwent an overhaul of their supply chain and changed their approach by using lean manufacturing principles in order to reduce footwear lead times. Another instance of when both firms' supply chain practices were on display was in relation to their approach to matters such as centralization and third-party logistics specialization. Nike's strategy in this was to obtain up-to-date shipment data that can be used to help the firm's supply chain, whereas Adidas's approach to this matter is they operated in a decentralized fashion. They had different units operating separately, choosing their suitable software. With the topic of both firms' supplier relationship management, both firms had different outlooks on this matter. Nike's strategy for this would be by implanting technicians into factories that were producing their Nike products to function as consultants between the research and development department and the Nike head office. This was in order to ensure a smooth production and development process and to obtain their control. The difference with Adidas's approach is they incorporate the use of consolidation. An example of this would be in 2009, Adidas reduced their base for manufacturing by 25% in order to reduce their supplier base by a further 40%. Nike's approach to their management of demand differs substantially to Adidas, With Nike, they forecast primarily off of their futures program. This is where retailers would order 80% of the inventory for their merchandise up to 6 months in advance for the sole purpose of acquiring discounts and less travel costs. Adidas' strategy to this matter is they recently launched their new world-class supply chain. The implementation of this means they are steering away from a forecast-based supply chain to a more demand-driven supply chain. Thank you for listening to me.